Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Heart
Oh,
Tree
welcome.
Institute. This is Kathy Pickett. I'm Amanda Holstein, and we're here for our December 2025, our last supermoon of the year 2025, and the third of four supermoons in a row. We have a December 4th full moon. It's going to be rising at about 6:14 p.m. on December 4th. So that's Eastern Standard Time. So it's really going to be kind of dramatic. I think it's really kind of like that, sunset moonrise moment. It's going to be really beautiful. It's called the cold moon or the long night moon because of the time of the year. It's cold, it's just getting cold outside. And those nights are getting longer and longer and longer. So this is our last full moon before we have that incredibly powerful solstice energy, that winter solstice energy of that long, long night. So we have a full moon also in Gemini. So when we get into a full moon in Gemini, we get into that twin energy. And these can be kind of opposing forces of any kind. We live in a dualistic nature. There's no way around that, unfortunately. There's one way around it. Maybe it's called enlightenment. I'm not really sure yet. But we live in a dualistic reality, and we have that Gemini dualism, but also really the core of Gemini is unity. It's really how do we take what feel like opposing forces and we come into a sense of unity with them, even if it's a thin line that we're walking between dualistic forces, hot, cold, dark, and light. There's a place where those two things meet, and we can stand in balance between opposing forces. We also have that Gemini energy, which is just witty and it's social and it's can be very smart and it can have a lot of curiosity and it can be very have a lot of conversation. So they can be very loquacious as well. Gemini they can just kind of talk a lot. So when we're getting into this particular full moon, what we're really looking at is we're looking at kind of the way that I've come to hold this in this moment and this rich conversation Kathy and I were having before we started this recording is really kind of about the stories that are on repeat in our mind, the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves and about the judgments of the world. So, our stories about the judgments of ourselves and the judgments about the world, because the story that you tell about yourself actually has an incredible power. Because what you are saying is what your world is being created by, what your repetitive thoughts, where your thoughts go, your energy flows, and life is given to that. We are amazing, powerful creators. And when we go into maybe when we're falling asleep at night, when we're getting groceries, sometimes when we're driving, there is an incredible power of repetition that happens within the mind. So the mind is a construct that loves the past and it uses information from the past to project into the future. And we can project beautiful futures and we can project really scary futures. And we can bring up beautiful, wonderful moments of the past, or we can revisit the kind of the highlight reels or the bloopers, right? The things that went wrong or the things where we struggled, or we can bring up the things where we feel incredible guilt or incredible shame. And when we're in kind of a down moment or a non-active moment, then we tend to go on these repetitive cycles of thought. So this is a really wonderful time. This Gemini full moon is a wonderful time to illuminate the road in between the two balancing points, right? The highlights and the bloopers. So when we catch ourselves in our repetitive thoughts, what we're really doing is we're catching the way that we are building our world. We're catching the way that we feel about ourselves. We're catching the way that we feel about others. We're catching the primary energies that we're moving through our body, whether they're anger, guilt, shame, hope, joy, generosity. We're catching all of the primary energies that we're moving through our bodies. And what we're really asking to do is not necessarily jump from, oh, I feel angry, I better feel happy. We don't want to go into that kind of like dualistic, like I am what I think I am, kind of nature that we can, torture ourselves with. But
Mhm.
we want to kind of go into that neutral place of sort of Actually, what I am is I'm a powerful creator, and whatever thoughts I tend to sit in are creating my reality. And I have to really spend some time thinking about what it is that I'm saying to myself on repeat when I'm not paying attention, and recognize that that's maybe where the work of letting go is, or the realization or the understanding that a lot of that is actually not true anymore. It doesn't really relate to me anymore. It doesn't really tell my story anymore. And yet I'm on default mode and I'm on repeat mode. And when I catch myself on repeat mode, sometimes I want to jump into its opposite of like, unicorns and cupcakes and stuff, but that's not effective if we're not coming from a true place. It's not effective if we're not in real generosity or in real openness and real open loving of the world and the universe. So it's like just going, oh, I'm recognizing that whatever story that I'm telling, I'm actually a powerful creator. Whatever story I'm telling, I'm actually a powerful creator. And then we can kind of stand in between those two places, in that more neutral zone. And when we're in that neutral zone, and that's what this full moon is inviting us to do. And Kathy's going to pull some tarot cards for us in a moment. This place is inviting us actually not to jump into mind chatter, not to jump into judgment, not to jump into the polarity, but to jump in that middle place, to jump into that place of quiet contemplation, even an inner silence or an inner easiness or an inner relaxation, because we also have that sun in Sagittarius, and that's going to be quick insights. It's going to be sudden bursts of clarity, but those sudden bursts of clarity can't come to us if we're on repeat mode and we're in a constant chatter about what we think, good and bad, good and bad, good and bad. So if we can go into that kind of neutral place, if we can go more into that quiet place, that contemplative place that's not just all up in the business of everything, but just sort of being like, oh, are those thoughts really true? Are these thoughts really serving me? It's the end of the year. What am I unwinding myself from? I can be in this kind of quiet, soft place. And then when we're in that quiet, soft place with the hand that's open to receive, we can get some of that Sagittarian energy that might give us some really nice clarity, some really sudden insights. They may come from anywhere. They may come from, because of this kind of energy of exchange, of quick conversation. They may come from relationship. They may come from words at this time. They may come from a text. They may come from, the radio. They may come from the person standing in front of you online in the grocery store, on the phone, but they just happen to be answering the question that's been going on in your head all day long. It might come from words that are sudden or unexpected, or even sudden insight or clairsentient moments or downloads that just come to you. But they're only going to come if we're in that kind of more like, oh, I'm leaning back from the mind, and I'm leaning back from going on autopilot, recognizing some of the autopilot, recognizing the energies that are generating from that autopilot, recognizing that I actually really don't like those energies. I'm building my world from those energies, and that's no longer serving me. So that's the invitation of the illumination of this full moon on December 4th.
Yes. Wow, Amanda, as always, it's so interesting as you're speaking. And when you were speaking, I was shuffling the cards and I was aligning with your energy and the moon energy that's coming. And I pulled the cards, and everything you said for me really resonates with the cards. This is the Lover's card. This
Yay.
is a six. In astrology, the Lover's card is Gemini.
Yeah, perfect. How perfect is
Like
that?
and as you're saying this, and there's this divine being, this angelic being that is right there above us. And this, like you were describing the duality, the feminine, the masculine, and this card, the essence of this card is finding your passion and what you love. It's
Yeah.
what do you love? This the lovers is about not about a loving romantic relationship, but finding what you love. What do you love? And as you were speaking about all of the thoughts in our head that the to-dos, the shoulds, the woulds, what I said, what I could have said, what I didn't say, what I need to say, all of those thoughts of how I'm going to change the world or help or expand. And this is about inner work. This is, what do I love? What
Yes.
do I love? And when you're in that discernment mode, as you were describing it, when you're going through that, this is my day, these are my thoughts. And when the thought comes, does this thought serve me or does this thought diminish me? Start curating our thoughts and
Yeah.
choosing the ones that really pull us forward, because this life is hard and it's a challenge. And so our thoughts can be our power to
Yeah.
illuminate where it is we're going. And I love that this is the Gemini um,
Mm.
card of the lovers, major
Mm.
arcana. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which is the
Woo.
mind. It's an air
Mm.
element. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Gemini is also an air
Yeah.
sign. So this is the Knight. And when you were describing, what are the thoughts that I have in my head that I can get my energy behind and charge forward with. When
Yeah.
we curate our thoughts, all is well, this too shall pass. My life is evolving and unfolding. I'm trying, as you were saying, I'm trying this. I'm working on this.
Mm.
Where is your mind in all of this? And when you
Mm.
find the thoughts that carry you forward, then you can charge forward in
Mm.
the world and it's clarity, it's new
Yeah.
ideas, it's revelations. And these do not come in the busyness of the mind, which is
No.
exactly what you were saying. You
Yeah.
need stillness to find what you love, the passion of what you love, and then you can set forward with confidence that you're following your heart. And the final card is the eight. Eight is a double four, which is the card of eight is the number of manifestation. Cups
Mm.
is feelings and it's
Mm.
water. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
water element. And she has
Mm.
these beautiful eight cups that are full and sparkling and full. Life is complete in all of these places. And I
Mm.
love that she's looking out, even though it's not a full moon. It
Right.
it's, looks like, from what I can see, it looks like a waxing moon. But look at
Mm-hmm.
all of the stars. And she
Yeah.
has eight stars in the
Mm.
sky. So as we're looking to the sky, we're looking to the moon to
Yeah.
illuminate what it is
Mm.
inside of us that we want to carry forward in our story. And I'll put it at the end of the newsletter too, but what you said about naming three things
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
feel complete with or are no longer serving me that I'm going to leave in 2025 is I
Yeah.
invite in the new. This
Yeah.
is the card often of travel, of dreaming, of finding what fills my cup, what is going to fill my soul, which
Mm.
is the lovers. What am
Yeah.
I passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so incredible as I'm pulling these cards and listening to you speak. I think you summarized the cards already.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
that adds so many more dimensions. And I love that sword. That's a sword of truth.
When it's pointed up, it's a
Yeah.
sort of truth, which truth
Yeah.
is clarity.
Yeah. And also just like what you no longer need. Like this is not true. This does not serve my passion and this does not fill my cup. Like it just cut it away.
And
Charge forward.
he's charging forward with
Yeah.
this new concept of
Mm.
how my choices align with me. I
Yeah.
think these ideas of the worry, of what I have to do, they just clog up the mind.
Clog,
And
clog, clog,
often they
clog.
clog up the mind because there's no answer.
Right. Right. The
We
answer
have
never
to
comes
find
from
the,
the mind. Right.
and this is, how do we find the flow and move forward?
Yeah.
How do we
Mm-hmm.
find the flow? Where is it flowing?
Mm-hmm.
Is aligned with our inner being,
Mm.
trusting the inner being and trusting the divine
Yeah.
to guide and protect us and carry us on our journey, that we're never
Mm-hmm.
alone. And this card reminds me that we're never alone, that
Mm.
there's always something more. So I'm, been reading tarot for a bit now, and I'm never disappointed, I think, in the cards.
What deck is that? That is a those images are so gorgeous.
It's the
I'm
Witch's
in love
deck.
with that. Mm.
This is Witch's Tarot, Ellen Dugan, and this is the deck that
Wow.
Winslow Elliott taught me
Um,
on
yep.
at Canyon Ranch. So this was Winslow deck. So I go
I've got
back to it
that.
as my one of my formation decks because I learned a lot from
Mm.
this deck.
Mm. It's beautiful images. Mm,
And, as I said earlier, that having these monthly full moon videos anchors
mhm.
in for me. It gives me a structure to
Yeah.
go back in, see what's
Mhm.
stirring around in there, getting clarity, and then moving forward. I think the
Yeah.
full moon every month gives us an opportunity to do just that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned it, so I'm just going to elaborate on it a little bit more. So one of the things that you can do, because we'd like to give a little ritual, Kathi and I both use a lot of ritual, like even everyday little moments can be, even like making my cup of tea in the morning actually feels very ritualistic to me. And I
I
do it very
agree.
particularly. So one of the ways that you can do that is because we're at the end of a year and the beginning of a new cycle. It may be really fun to have a little ritual and maybe even write down three things that you're ready to get rid of for the year of 2025. If you want to also, if it feels like an ending cycle for you, wonderful. If you want to include a beginning cycle or maybe not yet, maybe that's not until like the next full moon when we're in that really 2026 energy. But if you're feeling some beginning energy, you could also write three things that you want to fill those cups with, because that last card was really about that. Find that love and passion, release yourself from what is no longer true, and then really live a life that's really filling, all the cups. Um, and then, however you want to do it, three things I'm releasing, you can leave it there. Three things I'm releasing, three things I'm calling in. Leave that piece of paper in the moonlight overnight. Just let the moonlight illuminate that piece of paper. And then the next day you can release that in whatever way feels right for you. We don't want to prescribe that because we all have very different lives. Some people it's going to be they want to crumple it up and throw it in the compost bin. Some people want to put it in the paper recycle. Some people want to do a safe little fire with a candle and a safe dish. Some people have a wood stove. Some people want to tear it up into tiny pieces and bury it in the earth. Like we all have our way that we want to do our little release ritual. But there's something really beautiful about that paper with the Gemini, the words in the moonlight, and then a little release ritual afterwards. So
Well, I know I'm definitely going to do that. I love
it
that
sounds
suggestion.
fun. Why not?
Why not? So again, it's December 4th around
4th,
6:30
6:14
Eastern.
p.m. Eastern Standard.
And of course, 2 days before, 2 days after.
Yeah,
So if you're really inspired when you hear this, go ahead and do it and
yeah,
put it where the moonlight will see it, because it will have a few days
yeah.
of that moonlight. And you may even keep it there for 2 or 3 days, because that moon is so
True.
full for several days,
Yeah,
to illuminate it. I often will use a crystal near it, a selenite or some other kind of, to amplify the energy. Amethyst, selenite, and some kind of a crystal can
yeah.
also amplify that energy as well. And the thing is that it comes from your heart and your truth. And when it comes from that place, that authentic place within us, that is truly what amplifies the power of that intention.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah,
come from the mind saying, I have to stop worrying about my kids.
right, right.
No, that's the mind. No,
Come on.
everyone is on their journy.
Yeah,
I honor
everyone.
their
Thank you.
journey. I
Yeah.
honor their journey.
Hmm. Hmm.
Shifting that, because Gemini is about words, it's about
Yeah.
language, it's about communication. And we always talk about words and communication, but I want to just mention the listening part. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when we listen to others and when we expand our sight into a larger sphere, we can see more
Yeah.
clearly. And
Hmm.
so communicating sometimes isn't about doing all the talking. It's about standing back, listening, and receiving information from the environment and what's happening. So communication, just expand your idea of that a little bit. It's beyond just the words. And you are
Yeah.
probably familiar with the four agreements.
Yeah.
I was,
Hmm.
I've heard them, clients have talked about them, my family was talking about them, but to be impeccable with our words
Yeah.
means that I use my words consciously and carefully,
Hmm.
and I choose them wisely. So just being aware of the words that you use to yourself when you describe your own situation in life, and how you speak of others, not from
Yeah.
fear and doubt, but from
Right.
empowerment and hope and faith and love and all of those. Because that's what this is about faith and hope and
Hmm.
love, and knowing
Hmm.
it is within me. I may not have found it yet, but I know it's within me, and I'm listening to that own
Hmm.
voice within me. So this is about listening to the voice within, not the
Right.
voice.
Yeah.
So
That's right. Hmm. Hmm.
beautiful.
Awesome. All right,
I
everybody.
got my
Thank you so
ritual
much.
ready. I got to
Yeah,
come up with
yeah,
my three things, and I'm gonna. Thank you so much, Amanda.
yeah,
I love doing
absolutely.
these
All
videos.
right, everyone, check us out at hearttreeinstitute.com for classes and events. And hit the subscribe if you like. All right.
Okay,
Take
thank
care.
you
Happy
all.
December, everyone.